Well, the microphone works, so that's good. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, children of all ages, get your cocktails ready because we are about to start the show in just a quick hot minute.
Looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
That's the one. Son of a bitch! Have I been live this whole fucking time? 13 goddamn minutes without any fucking audio? Are you kidding me? Jesus Christ. I'm so fucking bad at doing live stream. I'm so bad. I need to have a goddamn... Ugh. Fuck. Just restart the fucking show. Anyway, okay, so... Oh, Jesus Christ. Just got the fucking test pattern. We're out. Bye. Nope, wrong screen. Bye. Okay, but for real. For real. for real. Okay. I can't believe I did 13 minutes of the damn show with nothing. And everybody's gone. Son of a bitch. I can't fucking believe I screwed that up. I screwed it up so fucking royally. God damn it. Oh. Anyway. I would just start over and come back tomorrow. Oh. Thank you, Ting Ting. You're the best. I saw the chat like going up over here on the right side of my screen, and it's like Ting Ting, Ting Ting, Ting Ting, Ting Ting. But I can't. It's like too. I can't see it. Like it's in the OBS window. I can't see it. Show y'all what my screen looks like if you're even remotely curious. This is what the screen that I'm looking at looks like. See, that's what the screen I'm looking at looks like. So like chat's way over here, and it's like tiny. So I can't like see it. I see it like happening, but I don't know what's happening, you know. Anyway, thank you, Ting Ting. You fucking saved my life. Could have done a whole damn show without any audio. Anyway. I'll do a short with 19 Oaks, Front Porch Distilling Company out of Lufkin. I'm going to do a short with this. Maybe a little whiskey review video, a little 10, 15-minute whiskey review in the very near future. But it's a little distillery out of Lufkin, a little family-owned operation. It's a very tasty, very delightful whiskey. I will drink a little bit more of it to show y'all that I wasn't lying. Is quite a delightful drink. Cheers. Anyway, as I was jabbering on, Friday we do the giveaway. We spin the Wheel of Doom and Glory. We'll spin the Wheel of Doom and Glory Friday. We will be giving away those bottles that I had on the screen. These 3 bottles plus our Boomtown Bourbon. The sample of Boomtown Bourbon right there. Boom, sample of Boomtown Bourbon. All these bottles will be labeled up and ready to go, really pretty looking by Friday. Probably really pretty looking by tomorrow, to be quite honest. We'll have plus a cigar from a nationally known, renowned tobacconist. You'll see our lives from the distillery as we continue to build out our place. I'm going to actually start build out on the tasting room this weekend and next week, and you'll be able to see the progress as we continue the production of our rye and other whiskeys, and continue the build out of the space in the distillery. And the best way, if you want to see day in the life as we continue the progress and the stuff at the shop, the best way to do that is have the notification bell hit so that when we do go live, you be notified about it. And because those day in the life shows usually pop up about 30 minutes before we actually go live, because I kind of decide to do it kind of on the fly. Cheers, Top Shelf. Welcome to the party. Glad you joined us. Glad you joined me with audio. Because I'm stupid and started the show without any fucking audio. Lord, God, I can't fucking believe I did that. Um, Lubricated libationers. I'll remember that. But let's get on with the cocktail, shall we? The Ward 8 cocktail. A very unique, very delightful Ward 8 cocktail. Let me call my lovely assistant. Cover this up a little. She's going to come in here and yell at me because I'm whistling at her. I hear her moving. She just yelled, "I'm coming! Stop it!" Anyway, the Ward 8 cocktail, a delightful cocktail. Let's talk about the history of the Ward 8 cocktail while we're waiting on the ice and glasses to show up. The Ward 8 cocktail started way back in 1898, about the same time that the old fashions were flying through the country, and about the same time that the rum and coke was being introduced to the country. The Ward 8 is a rye-based cocktail with orange juice and grenadine. In fact, I need to get my grenadine prepped because it's a new bottle of grenadine, so I need to take off the whatchamacallit, the little seal here. Anyway, it was pioneered originally in Boston, Massachusetts. In 1898, let's scroll down to the actual text. I'm reading this right out of Wikipedia. In 1898, Democratic political czar Martin, oops.
I was snuggling a guinea pig.
She was snuggling a guinea pig and had to put the guinea pig away, and no doubt did not wash her hands at all when she brought me these glasses.
Nope, it is guinea pig furred.
Covered in guinea pig fur.
Sorry.
Love it. So this drink is 2 ounces of rye whiskey. This is my bar behind me, my little roll top desk. I'm using my delicious rye whiskey. So it is a full shot of rye.
Did you show everybody that you found a roughneck reserve?
I did not show them that I found the roughneck reserve. I was going to keep that to myself.
Well, there's no more left. You bought the last one.
It is mine. I'm not sharing it. So that is a full 2 ounce pour of rye whiskey.
Go light for me. Okay.
Too late.
Who wants me to sleep well tonight?
And then believe the recipe said, yes, I'm fine. The recipe was 2 ounces of orange juice, a little bit more OJ, and a Father of the Year move. 2 nights ago, I gave my 10-year-old a glass of orange juice with a half a shot of whiskey in it because he had a cough. And we couldn't find any cough syrup. So,
now we're going to have the CPS on us.
And then a shot, just a little dab of grenadine to give it some color and flavor. And then you stir it, and there it is. It looks like it's a little redder than I remember it being, probably because I put a lot of grenadine in that one.
Put a lot more than you need to.
There you go. This one's a little bit less red. This is a little bit more OJ. A little bit less red. I think I'm going to give it a little bit more OJ because I probably was light on the OJ. Give it a little bit more OJ.
Still very pink.
Yeah, it's still very pink, but that's fine. There you go. Give that to my lovely wife. You can garnish it with a cherry if you're into garnish. I am not. I would rather not have.
It's yummy.
My lovely wife confirms that it is yummy. It is a delicious breakfasty type of drink. It is. I always thought whiskey and orange juice was a weird combo because the way the whiskey tastes and the way the orange juice tastes was just a weird combo. But this drink has convinced me otherwise. The grenadine gives it a little bit more sweetness. Bye, my love. She's happy. She's got herself her. Yeah, all the animals are behind her, like looking at her. This is fun. Like my door is right here. The door to my office. She comes in here. The dog comes in here. The cat's over there. All the animals. Like the only animals that aren't here are the guinea pigs because they're in a cage. Love you, my dear. So all the animals came to follow her. both of the animals came to follow her. But anyway, the way the orange juice plays with the whiskey and the way the grenadine kind of mixes together, this is a very delightful drink. You can drink this, I mean, damn near all year long. But anyway, this was pioneered out of Boston, Massachusetts. Um, what is it? The Democratic political czar Martin Lomansky hoped to capture a seat in the state's legislature. The General Court of Massachusetts, which is the legislature in Massachusetts, Lomansky had considerable power in the city for nearly 50 years. The story goes that the drink was created to honor his election in the city's Ward 8, which historically delivered him a winning margin. In 1915, the Santa Clara Company registered Ward 8 as a trademark with the U.S. Patent Office, claiming use since November 1912, and published a notice that they would prosecute any infringement. During Prohibition, the Daily Boston Globe reported that the drink was believed to have originated in the old and abandoned Quincy House. Competing but unfounded myths abound in print and on the internet as to its origins. One story reports that it originated in New York in an area known for political corruption. Another that the cocktail is traditional drink of the Scots Guards. But Ward 8 being from Boston, I kind of doubt it came out of New York or the Scots Guard. It's a delightful little cocktail. It's a little sweet for my taste, but you know, if you like sweet cocktails, this is you could do worse than this for a sweet cocktail. This is not bad. I mean, I'd still rather have whiskey on the rocks. I'd rather have whiskey neat. I'd rather have an old fashioned. Um, the grenadine is extremely sweet. The problem with sweet cocktails. Here's a problem with sweet cocktails. Whiskey is already a dehydrating, like alcohol itself is a dehydrating drink. If you add sugary mixers to your dehydrating alcohol, the sugar is hydroscopic. Is it hydroscopic? Hydrophilic? Hydroscopic. It absorbs water. It really likes water. So the sugariness in the orange juice and the grenadine, along with the alcohol dries you out as a function of alcohol. The sugar soaks up water as a function of its hydroscopic nature. So it ends up, and you pee it out. It ends up being more dehydrating as a sweet, sugary drink than just a plain old whiskey would be. So that's the problem with really sweet drinks. It feels like it quenches your thirst because it like draws uh, uh, water into your mouth as you're drinking. So it feels like it's quenching your thirst, but really it's drying you out. And this can be very dangerous when it comes for hangovers because it's really easy to drink, really light, really tasty, really sweet. But come morning time, if you haven't properly hydrated yourself over the course of the evening, you're going to pay for this. You're going to pay for, you drink 3, 4, 5 of these in an afternoon, you're going to pay for this because tomorrow you are going to be dehydrated and hung the fuck over. But it is really, it's really easy to drink. But there's something in there that's giving me a taste. And I'm not sure if it's the grenadine. It might be the grenadine. I might have used a little bit more grenadine than I had anticipated. It's not bad. It's not a bad cocktail. It's not a cocktail that I would go to. I would not go to a bar and I would probably not go to a bar and order this unless I was fucking with the bartender. Because I guarantee you, you go to a bar, you order a Ward 8, the bartender's going to look at you and go, what the hell's a Ward 8? You're going to have to explain this to them. But it's not bad. It's not. I've put worse things in my mouth. Hey, Bacon's in the house. Cheers, Bacon. Never trust a sweet drink. Exactly. Never trust a sweet drink. But it's a drink that has a history in the late 1800s. We talked about this when we talked about the old fashions. We talked about this when we talked about the rum and cokes. This was a very a very booming time, a renaissance, if you will, for cocktails to be made. This was a time and a day when lots of bars were coming up with new and different mixers. This is a simple syrup, grenadine, plus the mixer, the orange juice, not unlike a traditional old fashioned, which is whiskey, simple syrup, and fruit flavor. In the case of an old fashioned, you have a muddled up cherry with the water and excuse me, my voice cracked there for a minute. I felt like I was hitting puberty. Um, but you have whiskey, simple syrup, and bitters. This is whiskey grenadine, which is a simple syrup, and instead of bitters, you have orange juice, which is orange. I mean, it's orange juice and water, basically. So it's the same standard construction of a cocktail. Definitely not an old-fashioned style of cocktail. Very, very much a newfangled late 19th century type of cocktail. But oh, there you go. I'm gonna get sweeted out with that. I'm not gonna have a second one. And I have a little bit of orange juice left, but I'm not gonna have a second one. I've had enough of that. I'll finish this one, and then I will switch over to straight whiskey like a grown-up. No, I kid. For real though, drink whiskey however you like it, whether it's on the rocks or um, neat or in a cocktail. As long as you drink it with your mouth, there's no wrong way to drink whiskey. So let's get on. Let's see, where are we at? 8:45? We're at 8:30. We're at 8:30 right on the dot. Let's get on with the rest of the show, shall we? Any questions you have with regards to the whiskey, with regards to the cocktail, with regards to I mean, it's easy to make in your own house. You don't even, I don't think you really need the grenadine. The grenadine adds a sweetness to it. So if you want to just make it in your own house, you do just the orange juice. Grenadine is, what is that? Cranberry? Not cranberry. It's pomegranate, right? Yeah, pomegranate juice and concentrated pure cane sugar. So, it's a pomegranate simple syrup, which is a little sweet and tart as far as the juice goes. You could probably go without the pomegranate and just do whiskey and orange juice, I suppose. The pomegranate gives it a little bit of a sweet bump. I'm going to try it with just the orange juice and see. So, like, theoretically, at least you could make it with ingredients that you just have laying around the house. The little cough syrup elixir that I made for my son a couple of nights ago, I drank it before I brought it up to him because I didn't want it to taste like a shot of whiskey. I'm not a monster. He's 11 years old, for crying out loud. But, it was like a juice glass and a half an ounce of whiskey. It didn't taste particularly bad. It didn't taste like good orange juice, but it didn't taste like bad whiskey either. So I will try that with my next iteration of this, just to see, because I'm a big fan of drinking cocktails with stuff you have laying around the house. And if you have kids in the house, you have apple juice, you have orange juice, you have lemonade. And our Colonel Angus is lemonade and mint extract, just a hint of mint extract. Our apple blossom is apple juice and cinnamon with whiskey. If you have apple cider and whiskey is a really delightful drink as well. And being able to add orange juice to whiskey makes for another iteration if you're interested in doing a cocktail. And of course, if you just have whiskey and ice laying around the house, you have a delightful cocktail known as whiskey on the rocks. If you don't have any ice laying around the house, you have whiskey neat, which is also a delightful cocktail, which isn't technically a cocktail because it's just whiskey, but whatever. Just drink whatever the fuck you want to drink. I am not one of those bougie whiskey snobs that will tell you the proper way to drink whiskey is at 68.3 degrees. Fuck that. You drink it with your mouth. You're fine. Drink it with your mouth. Drink it with friends. Tell stories. Whatever. Just drink it. It's better to be drank than not. It's better. I'm not going to say it's better to be drunk. You don't want to be drunk. Unless you're into that sort of thing, then go for it. But it's better the whiskey is better when it has been drank than whiskey that has not been drank. So the sign of a really good whiskey is an empty bottle. That's the sign of a good whiskey. If you have an empty bottle, you had a good whiskey because you drank it. That's how it. That's how it is. That's how it should be. Um, but that said, I'm going to I'm going to open up my chat box so that I can see chat, and I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to open up my chat window on the screen. Boop. There we go. Boop. There it is. That is the chat window, and I'm going to go back in time on my chat box to when I turned on my audio, which was about 20 minutes ago. Right there. There it is. Ting Ting saying we can't hear me because I was stupid and I am a bot. All right. So, as some of y'all were able to join me this afternoon when I was bottling up the whiskey. I had to stop the stream stopped abruptly this afternoon when my computer ran out of juice. The battery was not the computer was not plugged in, so my battery ran out of power. My computer turned off unexpectedly right around 4:30 ish. And that was about the time I needed to leave anyway to go pick up my son from school. So I just shut the stream down and bugged out. But what y'all don't know is in between, like in the morning when I was doing work, I was doing some work in the morning. Then about 10 o'clock, we had a film crew show up. I guess it wasn't a film crew. It was a camera crew because they didn't actually have film. It was a digital camera. So they didn't actually have film. From iVox Media, we had interview, background, video, a whole thing done, a little expo of the distillery. That'll be coming out on, they're working on a partnership with the network, but that'll be coming out on their platform, ivoxmedia.com, ivoxmedia.com. Hang on, let me get that right. Make sure I got it right, rather. I believe it was ivoxmedia.com, but I'll post the link. Nope, it's ivoxplus.com. I will post the link in chat. So if y'all want to, I don't know when it will. I don't know when it's going to post, but I'll post it. I'll post the link in chat, so you're going to see what I did this morning. We had a lot of fun with those guys. It was a ton of fun. And we are going to. I'm working with them. I'm hoping to work with them. I've opened up discussions with them about doing some commercials and doing a cocktail series with a chef that works here in Houston across town at a restaurant and doing a cocktail series and getting some signature cocktails with that chef. So like some stuff is going to come out of it, which will be kind of cool. I'll keep all y'all posted. We'll do some stuff and see some stuff. They took a lot of video. We did a lot of talking. But in between doing that, my other work and the live stream at, I think it was 3 when I got started on the live stream, 2:30, 3 o'clock. I was going back and forth with a guy on the TikToks about just nonsensical stuff. Talking about voting and preservation of the union, and he kept going on and on. Well, I don't want to say going on. He was talking about the military shooting on civilians, and oh my God! And then he veered into illegals voting, and I kept like trying to reiterate, like TikTok's a weird sandbox. It's like, but the whole point where I'm going with this is the whole point that we're doing the voter registration drive next week is my firmly held belief that if you pick up guns to preserve your democracy, you've already lost your democracy. You really, 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 really need to preserve your democracy with pins and ballots, not guns and bullets. You really, really, really like they took away our right to privacy 2 months ago, and the guns didn't stop that. But people voting can undo that. We lost that right of privacy 2 months ago because people didn't vote in 3 specific elections. 3 specific elections. You can go back to this election, this election, this election. That's where those judges came from. And I can't stress this enough. check your voter registration. You have probably about a month, less than 30 days, to make sure you're registered in your state and that your registration is up to date. Here in Texas, our deadline, I believe, is October 18th, but it might be October 15th. And of course, election day is in November. So check and make sure your stuff is up to date, you're registered, your registration is up to date, your registration is correct. Make a plan to vote, and then act on that plan. Either vote early or vote day of, but do not put it off to the last minute. You put it off to the last minute, anything can happen, and you may not get there in time. And to be completely honest, I don't give a shit who you vote for. I do not give a shit who you vote for. But I would love to see 100% participation at the polling booth. 100% participation, because if everybody votes, the more people that vote. In fact, we'll probably talk about this next week or the week after. Like the marketplace of ideas and why voting matters. But the more people that vote, in fact, we can talk about that fucking tonight for all I care. The more people that vote, the more ideas that are out there, and the more candidates, the more people are motivated to be a candidate. And if you look at a place like, well, look at Wyoming, where Liz Cheney ran for re-election, and she failed in her re-election bid, or she failed in her attempt to get the nomination for her party for her re-election bid. But that was the Republican side of the ledger. And on the Republican side of the ballot, there was, in Wyoming, there was something like 10 times as many voters as on the Democratic side of the ballot. The Democratic candidate, I think, got 4,000 votes and won his primary. The Republican got something like 40,000 votes to win her primary, or there were 40,000 votes cast in the Wyoming. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was something. But only having 45,000 people out of Wyoming's 500,000 people voting, or 500,000 population actually go to the polls to vote, is discouraging in general. But only having 4,000 people in the entire state bother to go vote in the primary, that's discouraging to candidates in general, because there's just not a large market. If there's a larger market, then more candidates show up. If more candidates show up with different ideas on how to solve the various problems that we are facing as a country, then you have more opportunities for groups of people to coagulate around, and more, I don't want to say factions, but really it is kind of factions. You know, if you want to have a big tent, you got to have people to put under that tent. And if you have a very small group of people, you can't have a big tent, because it's just not a lot of people. So what I'm saying is, it's a civic muscle that gets flexed, and you do it every election, special elections, ballot measures, dog catcher, water board, for your local municipal water agency, whatever. Just fucking go vote. Just do it. I mean, people vote in droves for America Has Talent or American Idol competitions. They pay $1 to fucking vote in that shit. That has no bearing on your life whatsoever. Meanwhile, but so this is why when we have our grand reopening next week, this is why I'm doing the voter registration drive. To be completely honest, I don't care who you vote for. I do not care who you vote for. Go fucking vote your conscience. It's all between you and your God. I don't care. But vote. And that's what's really important. We have less than 60 days, 55 days, I believe, from now to the election. It's extremely important. You may not think it matters, and that's fair. You may not think it matters, because it may not matter in December. It may not matter in January, but over the long run, it absolutely matters. It makes a huge difference, because decisions that are made in 2022 can be directly traced back to lack of voting in 2016, 2014, 2012, 2018. These things have long-term consequences. And we're talking about 40 years down the road. Things that happen in 2035 will be directly traced back to the way the vote broke in 2014. And it's hard to think about that now, but that's kind of it's hard to think about the hamburger you have on Tuesday affecting your life in March, but that's kind of how this shit works. So, if whatever your process is, vote for your team, vote for your person, vote for your gender, vote for your race, whatever it is, go out and fucking vote. It matters. It actually, in the long run, actually matters. And that's all I'm going to say about that for now, but I'm sure it'll come up again later in chat. And we will, well, it's 10:43. I got to catch up. We're officially 30 minutes behind, and this is usually when I get the engine started. So let's roll, shall we, kids? So this is where I got the audio turned back on, right at 10:14. 10:13. I turned on the test pattern. I was beside myself. Sucked. Goddamn bacon. I showed you. I talked about it. I think I mentioned it already. It is 19 oaks. It is a blended whiskey, part Kentucky, part Texas whiskey. I saw their full operation there in the back room that they had. It is part Kentucky whiskey, part Texas whiskey. This is a distillery out of Lufkin, Texas, which is about an hour and a half to 2 hours north of Houston. In fact, last week on the live stream, I was talking about taking the right turn out of Lufkin, Texas, and going into Natchitoches, Louisiana. Natchitoches, Louisiana being the sister city of Nacogdoches, Louisiana. Similar spelling, different pronunciation. And how the radio from Houston today, the radio from Houston stretches to Lufkin. Back when I was a kid, the radio from Houston didn't stretch all the way to Lufkin. It didn't make it quite that far. But there was Radio Lufkin, the different radio stations in Lufkin that you could pick up on. And outside of Lufkin, you take the right turn and you head out to Natchitoches. It's Highway 121, I believe it was. You take a right turn and you head east and you head out of Lufkin on your way to Natchitoches, Louisiana. And in between Manny and Milam, Texas, Manny, Louisiana, the radio station cuts out. You don't have Lufkin radio anymore. You haven't picked up Louisiana radio yet. And that was the place on the trip to Natchitoches when we would pop in the 8-tracks in our old yellow Pontiac Bonneville, and pop in the tapes in the van when we had our van. We got rid of the Pontiac and picked up the van. Okay, it gets a little bit better as the ice melts. It needs a little bit of water to bring everything together. Anyway, that was when we popped in the music, and one of the tapes, one of the 8-tracks that my dad would play on that trip was John Denver's greatest hits. And John Denver's greatest hits, of course, one of his greatest hits was Country Roads. Take Me Home, Country Roads, the one that's written literally from postcards about West Virginia. Almost Heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River, etc., etc., etc. So in the song, the country roads that takes him home are West Virginia roads through the Appalachian Mountains, through West Virginia. But for me and for him, the country roads that took him home and the country roads that took me home, opposite directions, because he always referred to Natchitoches as home because that's where he was born, that's where he grew up. He grew up in Natchitoches, Louisiana, Northeast Louisiana, home of Northeast Louisiana University, where Steel Magnolias was filmed. But for him, that highway, Texas Highway 121 and Louisiana Highway 6, that was the country road that took him home. For me, Louisiana 6 and Highway 121 was the same country road that took me home, but in the other direction, because for me, Houston was always home. Humble, Houston, that's where home was. I moved to Beaumont when I was 2. I moved to Humble when I was 5. I haven't lived here all my life. I moved back into Houston for several years, and then we moved back out here to Humble before I started the distillery. So it turns out for our anniversary, we go up to we go up to Lufkin. We're staying at this little cabin in our little KOA, and on the way home, like home back down here to Humble, we take a little trip back through just a little, like 3 miles onto this little highway to go check it out. And I was saying on the live stream last week that, we would always, as we were coming home to Houston, we would stop at the Dairy Queen that was at the intersection of Highway 59 and 121, and we'd stop at that Dairy Queen and we'd get ice cream before, because it's right about the halfway mark. Lufkin is right about the halfway mark between Natchitoches and Houston. It's Huffman and then a straight shot down into Houston. And as we were coming home, we passed that Dairy Queen, and I saw that it was boarded up, and the Dairy Queen is closed. They closed the Dairy Queen on the east side of Lufkin, and I was just, it's one of those things where you see this totem from your youth, this landmark of your youth, and it's closed, and it's like, damn, they got beat up bad from the last couple of years, because there was a brewery that closed its doors, 2 breweries that closed their doors during the last couple of years too, and it was very, very disappointing to see that particular Dairy Queen that was closed. And my dad couldn't sing worth a damn. There were yowling cats that would look at him and be all like, "Dude, you need to, you need to cork it, because that's bad." But there were a handful of CDs, or not CDs, because he didn't do CDs. There was a handful of eight tracks and tape decks that he would listen to, and he would belt out best he could. Merle Haggard, uh, Merle Haggard, and old Waylon Jennings, the elder Waylon Jennings. Um, he would sing along. Uh, the PTA, Harper Valley PTA. He'd sing along with that. He'd sing along with old Merle Haggard. He'd sing along with John fucking Denver. And man, to this day, John Denver's greatest hits is still to this day one of my favorite albums. And the Muppets. That was another 8-track that he had for some strange reason. Why the Muppets? I don't get it. But yeah, so we were. I don't make the trip back to Natchitoches very often, because I never lived in Natchitoches. I have some family up there. I visit the family, but yeah, I don't make that trip back there. But for some reason, this little nexus right there in Lufkin, that where we take the left turn and we're leaving Texas. We're officially leaving Texas. Because all that travel up to Lufkin, and you take the left turn or the right turn, and now you're officially leaving Texas. You're heading towards Louisiana finally. That is a I don't know. That's a spot. That's a pivotal spot along the trip. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. It was a fun trip. It was a good trip. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And oh, fun story. We stopped by a winery on the way home. We stopped by the winery on the way home. This winery is what was the name of the winery? Tempe Creek Winery. There in Livingston, which is about an hour north of Houston. We're an hour and 4 minutes north of Houston. We stopped at the Tempe Creek Winery. The owner and operator, the proprietor of their winery, we tell her, we were staying in Lufkin for a couple of nights. This cabin up at the KOA. We were staying at this cabin. She said, "Oh, really? What did y'all do?" I was like, "Well, we're up here on our 21st wedding anniversary. What do you think we did?" My wife turns beet red, completely embarrassed. She's like, "She doesn't want to." Like, she asked the question. I'm not, I mean, what do you think somebody who's up in Lufkin staying in a cabin in the middle of the woods was going to do on their 21st wedding anniversary? We got no kids. It's just us. We're in the woods. We're in a cabin. We're all by ourselves. Do you really want to know what we did all weekend? So anyway, yeah. So we had barbecue. We had barbecue. We cooked a steak. And we watched a football game. That's what we did. Mm. Okay, anyway, but seriously, I need to catch up on chat. Quit distracting me, people. It is 10:18 I'm seeing we're 40 minutes behind on chat. Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's roll. Let's roll. Rodent turds and fur. Nothing wrong with rodent turds and fur. Yeesh. Half a cup of rice wine, sugar, and whatever he had in the Chinese cabinet of medicine. See, that's some of the best. Yeah, some of the. It doesn't cure what ails you, but it definitely knocks the cough out. Um, isn't that just dickle after you lick a knife? See, that's kind of what I always thought I'd get from whiskey and orange juice, like this, like orange juice and a steel cup, a metal cup. You know, the aluminum cup. Yeah, but it's not a bad combo. It's not a great combo, but it's not a bad combo. Um, Next to engineers of inebriation. Ooh, that's a good one too. Engineers of inebriation. Um, never trust a sweet drink. Ever try a mix with Malibu rum? I've never done a mix with. Uh, I've never done a mix with. Well, I've done cocktails with Malibu rum, but I've never done a mix with whiskey and Malibu. Malibu's not my thing. Grenadine, simple syrup, and no. Grenadine is the simple syrup. Grenadine is the simple syrup. So the orange juice is. Oh, you figure that out. Mike McClune is in the house. Mike McClune was there at the beginning. Cheers, Mike. Why should add ice cubes to a perfect drink? You should not. You don't have to add ice cubes to the perfect drink. If it's already the perfect drink, you don't have to add ice cubes. So there you go. More nose and flavor. Yeah, yeah. That is good technical. That's a good technical explanation. I'm down with that. Same as caffeine when you drink coffee, soda, etc. Right. Yeah. I mean, basically, it does two things. The water breaks it breaks the surface tension, opens up the flavors, but also it cools it down. Um, so you can cool down. Oh, hey, hey, grab the stones out of the freezer. They're on the door or the off the table on the hall. But it cools the temperature down and it brings it down from our room temperature, which is low 70s, to a little bit in the mid 60s, mid to high 60s. So it helps to cool down the drink too. Uh, so it has a twofold benefit of opening up the flavors with the water, the surface tension, and also lowering the temperature in general. So there you go. As it melts, yeah. But that's also why I make my whiskey at 90 proof versus 80 proof, because if I'm going to add ice to my whiskey, I don't want it to be watered down. I don't mind it watering a little bit, but I don't want it to taste like water.
Here's a question: if you put your tongue on a stone, will it get stuck?
Probably. I'm not going to do it though.
Okay.
So this is a new project that I'm working on at the distillery. Artisan, can you see that? Artisan whiskey stones. So these stones, and by artisan I mean they are actually hand carved, hand cut. They have a little round top on it, but I'm going to make some that are actual cubes. Whiskey stones that are they are marble whiskey stones, hand cut. I'll be doing several of these on camera during another live stream, but there you go. Whiskey stones, handmade Italian marble whiskey stones. They will be available on our online store as well as um, as well as on site at the distillery. See, whiskey stones. They're about the size of dice. I had no idea how easy these were to make, but these are hand-carved, artisan, custom-made whiskey stones. They will be sold in their own handsome pouch with hopefully with our logo on the pouch. I'm working on all that. So there you go. If you are interested, we will be making these. I will be making several of these on camera at the distillery during our live streams, probably in the next week or so. So there you go. That also helps to lower the temperature of the whiskey without watering it down. There's a drawback with these in that they absorb the cold from the freezer really easily. They transfer the temperature, the heat really well. But they also release. They absorb the temperature out of the. What am I trying to say? It doesn't. They're very effective at lowering the temperature a little bit for about one shot. But they do not seem to be particularly effective for two or more. Whereas a chunk of ice seems to be very effective for a couple of shots if you have a big blocky chunk of ice. I'm still playing with how many stones is an appropriate dosing for a single drink. But these I will be making these on camera. You will be able to see me making these. And I've got a lot of pallet wood. I may be making some handsome wooden carrying cases or some handsome cloth pouches for the stones. So we shall see. We shall see. It's better to be registered in 2 states. That is against the law. You should not be registered in 2 states. But it really kind of sucks to have to drive to 2 different polling stations and vote. It just kind of sucks. I mean, voting's already annoying to do to begin with. You're doing your civic duty, you're going to vote. Who wants to do that twice? That sucks. You actually get a nice buzz when you're sipping. Yeah, I think that's a good point. Because like Ting Ting says, adding a block of ice can make your drink go a little longer. And it changes over the course of the drink. As the whiskey goes down and the water goes up, it changes over time. But if you drink it quick enough, if you're not nursing it for 2.5 hours, it doesn't really get that watered down. It gets watered down a little bit, but not a lot, especially if you're using a big chunk of block of ice. It doesn't get watered down that much. But the quicker you drink it, the less watered down it gets, and the longer you can use that piece of ice. So there's that. This cocktail definitely gets better as the ice melts. Love screwdrivers. Now, a screwdriver is vodka and orange juice, if I'm not mistaken, right? One of these days, I'm going to do a showcase of the Bloody Mary. I'm not a big fan of the Bloody Mary mixed with whiskey is dreadful. It's a fucking terrible drink. But one of these days, I'm going to do it. I'm going to focus on the Bloody Mary, the classic Bloody Mary. I'm going to get some Bloody Mary mix, and I'm going to get some Bloody Mary ingredients. I'm going to do the mix, and I'm going to make one fresh and compare the two and see what the hell was that? I just heard like buzzing in the background. Something was buzzing in my office. It sounded like a phone, but anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, one of these days I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the Bloody Mary. A great breakfast drink. A fantastic breakfast drink, but definitely gonna do a comparison of Bloody Marys. Maybe I'll do screwdrivers one day. I just don't have a lot of vodka in the house. I don't have any vodka back here. I have rum, I have gin, I have bourbon, whiskeys, Japanese whiskey. Ugh. This shit, the absinthe. Ugh. That bottle's gonna stay full. Ugh. Anyway, uh, exactly, Ting Ting. When it comes to voting, we're all Americans. We should all be voting for doing our civic duty, voting for the republic. And that's how you preserve the union. Um, I've been a beer girl for years. Been a beer girl for years. I should change up day I turned 40. What election? Okay. um, simple, enjoyable mix for sure. Oh, the grenadine mix. Ting Ting. Usually drink bourbon on the rocks with water back. We'll stay hydrated while drinking. Tiger Beer Bar. And the Dixie dance at the bar. You guys crack me up. Welcome to the land of bumblefuckery. When giving a shot, no pun intended. Worth giving a shot. That's funny. Heavy Water Triads in the house. Cheers, Heavy Water. 10:47. Where am I? I'm only 20 minutes behind in chat. A Girls Light. Oh, Coors Light. Gotcha. You know, Coors Banquet beer is actually a delightful beer. It's a very good traditional Pilsner style beer. Coors Light tastes like water, but Coors Banquet tastes like something, which is kind of cool. A pint glass. So Coors Light and a pint glass of ice, and you drink the Coors Light on ice. Yuck. 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 Ew. That's yuck. That is, we will not speak any more of that. That's fucking terrible. Coors Light on ice. Beer on ice in general. I mean, why? I mean, okay. There was a day and time when Zima was a thing. It was a malt liquor beerish type of drink. Not good, unless you like that sort of thing. But Zima you could drink on ice if you were into that sort of thing. And I knew plenty of people who drank Zima on the rocks. I knew plenty of people who drank Zima. Not the kind of drink that I would normally recommend. If you're going to drink a terrible beer, drink a fucking terrible beer. But Zima on the rocks, but that was a malt liquor. So all right, that's better. Without the grenadine, it's not quite so sweet. Without the grenadine, it's not quite so sweet. It tastes a little bit more like OJ with a little bit of whiskey in it. And no ice. You can see no ice. But it's still not superior to whiskey on the rocks or whiskey straight. Neat. So anyway, miss 8-track tapes. Used to have a player at the. Yeah, I don't miss them. They really were before my time. Like we had a car that had an 8-track, but that was the only interaction I had with 8-tracks. I never actually listened to them in my house domestically. And in fact, I showed my kid. 1 second. My son, the same 11-year-old, noted that we had a CD player in the car and wondered where all of the CDs were. And, I had to show him that we used to, way back in the way back days, have collections of CDs that we would drive around it with briefcases of them in our cars and listen and own boxes and boxes of CDs. And we would keep our music on a little disc, and they would be, have a convenient carrying case, and they would be trapped inside this box. We'd have our music trapped inside this box. And I showed him the variety of different CDs that we owned, that I had in my CD carrying case. And I said that's how we used to go to music stores, and we would walk around and we would look at the discs, and they would be $12.99, and you would find one that had 2 or 3 songs on it that you liked, and you'd grab it and you'd buy it, and you go, I'm like, that's not even all of my CDs. I've lost so many over the years. It's just, converted several of them to MP3s now. But now kids these days, they can just go to Apple Music and buy one song for $1.99. They don't know how good they have it. Let me tell you another thing about music. Back when I was a kid, if you wanted one song, you had to pay $15 for the whole goddamn CD. And God forbid it was on a greatest hits album, and then you had to buy 3 CDs. Fucking kids, you don't know anything. We don't know what's good. Anyway, enough of my drunk uncle nonsense. Did I skip forward? Did the chat skip forward? No, it didn't. I must have tapped something. All right, so where were we? 8 tracks. There we are. Box wine, shift pillow, wine boxes with petrol and styrofoam. Fill my spit. What? Napalm out of a white box. Excuse me. My dad yelled at me once because I was making torches for camping using I was using branches and rags out of the garage, his good shop rags, and gasoline and styrofoam, and making the gasoline and styrofoam napalm mixture and dipping the rags in the mix and wrapping the rags around. He's like, "Why don't you just use your damn flashlight?" I'm like, "Dad, I don't want to use a flashlight." He's like, quit wasting my rags." Good times. Getting yelled at when you're 16 for making napalm. Oh God. Um, you can find us on. Oh, that's me. Sure. Oh. Yeah. Okay, I get that. Yeah, you gotta have options. You always gotta have options. And see, I used to joke that if you owned a house and you recently moved, you could be registered at both houses at the same time, because in Texas, God, it was as early as the mid '90s. They hadn't updated everything to a computerized system, so they still had the books, and they opened up the giant book. And thunk, the books with all the names of the registered people. So you could go to one polling location and you could sign your name in the book. And then you could go to another polling location and sign your name in the book. Or your brother's name, or, whoever it is that you claim to be at the other location. But now everything's computerized, and you show your ID, and boop, it automatically checks you off the list. And I know this. I know the back room stuff that happens in the system, because I'm a assistant precinct judge in elections now. I do stuff like that because it's very important to me. But yeah, there was a time in Texas, at least, when this big giant book of names, a thunk, and it was thick. It was like this thick. It was thicker than a phone book. But all that is fun. Good old days. Classic. One reason why I get bourbon at least 90 proof and higher Second with bottom bond when it's available. Oh yeah, because of the water. Right, that makes sense. You're going to do what? What was it? Can we do this? Oh, by Jim Beam, Old Tub bottled in bond. Gotcha. No one from the Antifa. Uh, no one from the Antifa listens to the show. I hate to tell you, Bacon. I don't know if I have any listeners, but you know. Make a Bloody Mary with homemade tomato juice. Yeah, see, I don't know if I'd make it with homemade tomato juice. I might buy the juice. I mean, because here's the thing about tomato juice. If you're buying store-bought tomatoes, the tomato juice tastes like shit. It tastes really watery and not interesting. Um, you almost have to grow the tomatoes to make the tomato juice. Like, for example, if you go to the store and you buy a bag of tomatoes, right? And you try to make sauce with those tomatoes, you're not going to get nearly as good of tomato sauce as you get from the can of Campbell's tomato sauce. Because the tomatoes that we get, the commercial tomatoes, they're made for sturdiness, they're very much watery. Uh, they're made for sturdiness, they're made for watery. The water content is high so that they can be sturdy, and they're just not really bred for flavor. Um, but the tomato sauce, the tomato juice that you get from concentrate or like V8 or something like that, it's a more concentrated flavor compound, and it's kind of the water's been boiled out of it. So if I were to make the tomato juice from scratch, I'd almost have to have my own garden and grow my own tomatoes, or get the juice and boil it to get the flavor a little bit more concentrated, so that it would actually taste like something. But I, as opposed to as far as making it from scratch, buying the ingredients and putting it together versus having a pre-made mix. Because I've done the old fashioned mix and compared the old fashioned mix to the old fashioned, and while this has more flavor than a homemade old fashioned, that's just water, cherry, sugar, whiskey. This has more flavor compounds, more concentrated flavor compounds in this simple syrup. So this has more flavor to it, but it doesn't make it better. It just makes it taste like more stuff. And I don't know. It's not bad. It's good in a pinch. It's one part of that, 2-part whiskey, done and dusted. You're fine. But uh, I kind of think it's probably the same way when it comes to Bloody Marys. Is you put all the pieces together. You buy the ingredients. You buy the ingredients. You put all the ingredients together. You'll probably get a superior Bloody Mary than the pre-mixed stuff. But it also depends, I guess, on the type of flavor you want out of the pre-mix, because you can get the pre-mixed stuff that's pretty decent, I suppose. You can get it spicy. You can get it peppery. You can get it all kinds of different combos. Anyway, vodka is cheaper. Should do the same job. I drink to get drunk, not to social. See, I try to avoid I like to drink. I like the taste of the alcohol. I like the taste of the drinks. I like the taste of the cocktails. I will spread out my drinks over enough time to try to avoid getting drunk. But hey, some people are into that. They drink to get drunk, and I have no problem with that, because I will happily facilitate your hobby. That's what I'm here for. I met one once at the archery range. CQB recruit. Huh? Oh, you mean Antifa? Okay. Vodka is supposed to be neutral in flavor. You can get some. Vodka is absolutely supposed to be neutral in flavor. In fact, that's one of the things that I did that separates vodka. I talked about that a little bit this afternoon on the live stream from the shop. That's one of the things that separates vodka from moonshine. Is that vodka, like moonshine, is supposed to have some flavor. It's not vodka, and it's not. It's got less flavor than the specific genres, the specific types of alcohol, and the specific types being vodka, gin, or not vodka, gin, whiskey, tequila, brandy, gin, whiskey, tequila, brandy, rum. Those all have like a flavor to the alcohol because they're only distilled up to 160 proof. They have some kind of inherent flavor inherent in the drink itself. But vodka is supposed to be distilled up to like 187 proof. And a lot of time vodka is distilled several times. So you see the vodka is 6 times, 12 times, 18 times, however many times it gets distilled. The whole point is to get the flavor out. So it's as neutrally flavored as possible. But moonshine falls in between those two. It's higher than 160 proof, but less than 187. And then a lot of times that moonshine gets flavored with, whatever, grapefruit, banana, whatever the flavorings are that they put, cherry, whatever the flavorings are that Old Smoky puts into the drinks that they have. Dustin, I'm sure they have several moonshine. Here we have mostly Old Smoky, and there's a couple of others here in Houston. But I'm sure there's a whole lot of other moonshine makers over there in Kentucky that you could probably name 3 or 4 off the top of your head. I can only think of the one, and there's the raw moonshine, and then all their flavored stuff that Old Smoky does. Old Smoky being out of Pigeon Forge, if I'm not mistaken, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. But that's a distinction between vodka and moonshine, is that vodka is intended to not have any flavor at all. Moonshine oftentimes has added flavor and is intended to have some kind of flavor inherent in its base product, no matter what it comes from. Corn, sugar, potatoes, whatever it is. And moonshine is a very traditional. There's a lot of tradition that goes on. That's the stuff that's made out in the hills. Applejack, apple, cinnamon, moonshine. That is a very common flavor, especially around here. I mean, you get the people who have their little trailers of moonshine, their little secret stash that you can get out of their trunk. A lot of times, the flavor you're going to get is Applejack, and a lot of times it's pretty high proof, because that's just how they do it. Still have a ton of good CDs. My emotional teen years, the portable CD player. Yep. The Walkman, the Walkman CD player. Yep, good times. Need something better than Costco vodka. I referred to vodka the other day as the hobo liquor. It's cheap. It doesn't have a lot of flavor. It's just made to get you there. That's it. It's you get it in the plastic bottle. You get it in the they take the plastic bottle, they put it in the paper bag, and you just go sit out and you drink your fucking vodka. That's all it is. Just plain straight alcohol. That's it. Napster, the good old days of Napster before the music industry. Or that's when we realized how evil the music industry was. Because for kids that don't know, Napster was a music sharing service that almost killed the music industry. I mean, it was cutting edge type of technology because you can take your disc, you can take your tapes, you can take your disc, you can take your stereo and record a song off the radio, and then take your recording of the song on your tape and give it to your friends. I mean, that's how we made mixtapes. We had a dual cassette tape boom boxes, dual cassette tape, stereos, and you'd play on the one and record on the other. Or you'd play the radio and record the song. You'd sit there, you'd call into the radio station and request Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. And they'd be, all right, we'll play it in 15 minutes. And you're like, okay, cool. And then you'd sit there with your finger, you'd set the record, hit pause, and 104 KRB would be playing top hits. Rock and roll, 104 KRB. And then you'd be sitting there waiting on it, and then they'd come on, and they'd say, and next up, we got Poison, but after these commercial breaks. And then you have to listen to the Demontron Nissan, and the Russell Smith Ford, and a Coca-Cola commercial. And then they'd start playing the song. And, Poison would come on and go, Every Rose. And they go, 104 KRB playing Poison. And you'd be like, God damn it, they ruined my fucking mixtape. That's what they do. They do that shit. You'd have to sit there and wait for that song again and again and again. But if you requested, guarantee they'd put the station identification after the song started so you couldn't record it because they knew what you were doing. But we'd sit there at night. We'd record songs off the radio. We'd record it from one tape to another, and we'd make the mixtape, and we'd give it to our girlfriends, and be, I love you so much. Here's a song. Here's a mixtape, or a travel mixtape, or special. I mean, that was what we would do back in the 90s. And then CDs made it even easier because you could just fast forward. You could just skip to the next track, skip to the next track, skip to the next track, and then put that track from the CD onto your tape. Or even better, when computers had CD players in the computer, you could play the music off. You could just take the file off of the CD and record it onto a MP3 onto your computer, and you could have all of your CDs downloaded into music on your computer. And then somebody, this Napster dude, Mike Napster, I don't know what his fucking name was, figured out, hey, what if we use the internet and we connected to people, or better still, people got onto AOL, and then AOL connected to Napster, and then Napster had hard drives full of all this music because all you needed to do was record the music off of your CD and you put it onto a file on your computer. But what if I put my music from my computer onto that file on their computer, and then you put yours on that computer, and you put yours on that computer, and then everybody just put them onto this this centralized catalog of all this music, and then you, the internet teenager, you were like, hey, what about Napster? I want to listen to Guns N' Roses. Boop, 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 boop. Guns N' Roses. Oh, look, Sweet Child of Mine is on Napster. You can go, I'll take that and put it down there. I want to listen. I'll put it on my own mixtape. I'll make a mixtape from the radio or from their CDs or whatever. And then the music industry was like, no, 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 no. You don't have a license, motherfucker. And he was like, I'm not selling it. And nobody was buying it. We were just trading music back and forth. We were making mixtapes. The music industry was suing people and winning lawsuits for $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 for people. And people hated the record labels for pulling this shit. Absolutely reviled, disgusted by the record labels. Almost killed the label industry entirely. I mean, this Apple Music saved the music industry because this was going to 100% just bring them down because people were so fucking pissed off. They didn't want to buy music. They didn't want to buy CDs. It was a huge PR disaster. The internet was fucking the music labels. And Apple Music comes along and says, hey, we can do this licensing thing where people can buy music and they did this licensing thing with Apple Music and the iPod and then the iPhone and then fixed it. Solved the problem as far as the labels go, and it's not perfect. It's not the musicians still get fucked. And we deal with that same shit still. I deal with that same shit still. We do live music at the Distilling. Guarantee I'm gonna get a call from CSAC. By the way, fuck you, CSAC. Certainly, I'm going to get a call from them the week after we have Same Old Circles playing at the distillery, and they're going to be all like, "Well, we saw you were doing live music at the distillery. Oh, I'm sorry, we saw you were doing live music at the distillery. You know, you need a license to do live music if you're going to do any covered bands, blah 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 blah, any karaoke, listen to any radio station. If you play any licensed music, people are fucking extortionists. They're absolute fucking extortionists. They're the worst human beings on the planet. They don't know at all if we're playing any music that's licensed by them. They just want us to pay them for a license in the off chance that maybe someday, at some point, at any time, someone maybe might possibly play a song that's licensed by them. But they have no idea what's being played. They have no idea what's going on. They have no idea what our operations are like. They just want us to pay them in the off chance that maybe we might play licensed music from them. But here's the even better part. They won't tell us what music is licensed by them. So we can't even tell our artists not to play it, when the people who have the real liability for playing music that's licensed by them should be the artist, because we're paying the artist to play their music. So anyway, the music industry is a clusterfuck. So yeah, Napster. I have a soft spot in my heart for Napster. That was back in the good old days, the good old Wild West days. Anywho, where were we? Yeah. You should probably not say that too out loud, because it being registered in two different jurisdictions might. I mean, check your local laws and make sure that that's not against the law. I will not go out and buy more beer tonight. Vodka in years, Gin Man, Gin and Blow. Oh, Jesus Christ. Tabasco finish. Wait, what? Oh, just use Dickel Tabasco finished. Boom. Dickel Tabasco. Hey, Jack, welcome. Has Bad Axe Bourbon finished their stream over there? How far behind am I in chat? It's 11:15. I'm only 15 minutes behind the chat. I'll catch up. Never Gin and Juice. Gin and Juice was a great song. Another batch of my homemade barbecue sauce. Try to make a Bloody Mary. I've heard barbecue sauce Bloody Marys are really good, but I've never been a Bloody Mary kind of guy. I'm not really a vodka guy, but I did a Bloody Mary cocktail, a Bloody Mary with whiskey, what would it be? Bloody Martha, with a whiskey and Bloody Mary mix, and it was fucking disgusting. So, I mean, at some point I probably should revisit the Bloody Mary. The Tiger Barn, regular tomato juice. Or use tomato juice, not the mix. Okay. Straight corn, shine, I don't mind. Oh, yeah. A Chinese sweatshop going to make hot and spicy taush. Did anyone ever break dance? Did anyone ever break? Well, people did. I didn't. I did. Now, I did know how to do that thing where you got on your head and spun. When I was a kid, I was able to do that. I was able to get on my head and spin, but I could only do it like two spins. I couldn't, or one full spin rather. I couldn't go around more than once. That hurt my head. Metallica still fucking comes down on people who share music. They are brutal. Metallica's got the reputation, and they still do it, and they are absolutely brutal. Nobody, you don't fuck with Metallica. They will come after you and your independent music ass. Stop making bunk tracks because people were only buying the ones they like. Yeah, and, it used to be a deal. I remember the CD from who was it? They like had 2 tracks that were made for radio consumption, and the rest of the CD, the rest of the album, was just absolute garbage. So I'm of an age. I'm of an age where I had record singles, 45s. So I had LPs, record LPs, 45s. I never owned an 8-track of my own, but I had records, cassettes, and CDs, and I've gone the entire range of music from vinyl to MP3s to Apple Music, proprietary garden, whatever you want to call those files. I've gone the entire range of development of the music industry. So I've listened to and held 8-tracks, but albums, cassettes, CDs, nuts, CDs, nut, no, uh, but I've gone the whole range from the late 70s all the way up to now. In fact, record, the first record that I remember paying money for, like spending cash money to buy, was a single for Dougie Fresh. Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew was Lottie Dottie, We Like to Potty. Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. I bought that single. It was a full size, not a 45, a 36. Is that what it was? Yeah, Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. Lottie Dottie, We Like to Potty. We don't cause trouble and we don't bother nobody. We're just a man that's on the mic. And when we rock up on the mic, we rock the mic, right? Oh, it was a great record. Oh my God. Such a great fucking record. I could, if I played it today, I'd probably still be able to sing along all the fucking lyrics. I listened to that thing so many times. So many times. But I had that record. I think I remember my brother's collection had the Kiss album. Like the actual LP, the album. I think he owned a Queen album. God, I had a record player on my stereo back when I was a kid. Damn. What other records did I own? I remember listening to an old Superman record when it was a Superman comic book episode of Superman versus Mixoplicht, where he had to say his name backwards to banish him back to whatever fucking dimension Mixoplicht came from. And I would listen to the Superman album, that Superman comic book album, again and again and again. And Mickey Mouse and Mickey Mouse the Giant Hunter. 7 with 1 blow. Ha ha. Mickey Mouse and the Giant Hunter, and the Green Giant. That was another album that I had. I was fucking 6 years old. It was a million years ago, right? God dang, that was a long damn time ago. What other? My mom and dad had an album, Barry Manilow album. Oh, the Frank Sinatra's Greatest Hits, like several Elvis albums for some strange reason. Kept all their records in a milk crate, which was standard furniture in the 1980s. Standard furniture. Everybody had a milk crate. If you didn't have a milk crate, did you even have a house? But yeah, the whole thing about you have like 3 or 4 singles on an album, and then after that you have nothing. Man, the music industry has changed drastically since the late 1990s. When they started consolidating, when they lifted the rule about uh, local radio stations and companies owning a certain percentage of local radio stations or a certain market of radio listeners, man, the music industry just went to shit. It was a whole different world back in the early 1990s and prior to that. But in the late 1990s, when they changed that rule, it did change how music was produced, music was consumed, and music was delivered. Made a big difference. Big difference. It's not just old men and old women screaming at clouds and shaking their fist and demanding that these damn kids get off their lawn and pull up their pants. There actually was a change in the music industry in the late 1990s. It was noticeable and drastic. That's something we'll probably talk about another day. I need to do some research to find out the specific details. But we know what I mean. You've noticed it in the radio. You've noticed it in the stations, and it makes a big and you just may not have been able to put your finger on it, but there was definitely a distinct change. I think it was like 1990. I want to say 1998 when the change happened, but it was a big fucking deal. Kentucky didn't remove you from the register when you moved. Once they added me to jury duty. Oh yeah. And that's generally where a lot of the question about voter registration, voter technical fraud comes in. It's just people moved and they haven't cleaned up the voter registration databases. Which is, I mean, and to be fair, they should clean these registers up. But the problem comes in when they clean the registers up. They don't just remove names that oftentimes when they remove names from the registry, the names are removed in a directed manner. Let's put it that way. It should be, I think, there should be same-day registration. There's absolutely no reason why there couldn't be same-day registration. If you have to show your ID, and your ID is issued by the government and presented by the, you have to show your documentation to get your ID, and you can show your ID when you have to show your ID when you get up there. It should be same fucking day registration. I get it. There's some issues. There's some technical issues that can be worked out, but they can work that shit out. There's absolutely no reason why it has to be 30 days prior. They're not validating the voter registration rules. They're not doing. They're just putting up roadblocks. But anyway, there's a whole lot of improvements that can be made to the voting systems. And we talk about this every time. We're sitting at the polls. We're sitting at the polling station. We're talking amongst ourselves. We're the poll workers. We're talking. Like, if Amazon can take your information and they can have your credit card information and they can send you a box of something in 48 hours, you can absolutely have two verifiable independent systems that can validate your information, present you with a list of options. You can check the boxes, put that list of options in, and still be anonymous to go back and validate this. There's absolutely ways to do it, but they don't. They don't want to. But we can talk. We'll talk about that more when we get closer to election day. So Bad Axe and Whiskey Tipsy finished. Oh yeah, I mean that was a. Well, I'm glad you joined me, Jack, because Bad Axe is doing some really good stuff over on his channel. I enjoy his channel a lot. When I get my shit put together over here better, I'm gonna do some more stuff with him. And Dustin down there, up there, wherever Dustin is, do some more shit with him. There's several whiskey tubers that I like. As we cut out earlier today, I was just about to give my like the whiskey tube criticism from earlier. I guess what I was gonna say is the biggest issue I have with whiskey tube is that I work with it all day long, and I don't consider myself a whiskey tube channel because I don't really talk about whiskey a lot. I don't talk about the cocktails. I do cocktails, but I don't really talk about the whiskey. I'll talk about it. It's what I do. I enjoy it. It's fun. Um, but I like talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. I like the math, the science, the philosophy, the history, uh, the broader, like the shit that we used to talk about, sports and stuff, the shit we used to talk about in bars, the open conversation. I don't want to limit myself to just having to talk about whiskey. I don't mind talking about whiskey. I talk about whiskey a lot. But I don't want to limit my conversation to just whiskey. We have a broad, open, wide forum, and sometimes we just have pure fucking nonsensical stuff. Uh, but when the system has worked a little bit better, I've had guests on. We've talked about space stuff, time travel, historical events, historical people, uh, and I don't know. Sometimes a lot of whiskey tube channels, they just kind of do the same stuff again and again and again and again. It's Weller, it's Jack, it's Buffalo Trace, it's a different Buffalo Trace, it's a different Weller, and it's just like, and I get it because like that's the stuff that everybody has available to them. That's the stuff that's interesting. That's the stuff that's fun. You don't want to talk about uh, the minor league single A Topeka Dragons. Nobody gives a shit about the Topeka Dragons. You want to talk about the Kansas City Royals or the St. Louis Cardinals or the Houston Astros. You want to talk about the national brand. You want to talk about the big league guys. You want to talk about the guys who are all over the place. No, none of y'all, literally none of you, unless you're somewhere between Lufkin and Galveston on the highways I-45 and US 59, I-69 going up towards Nacogdoches. None of y'all will find this whiskey. Y'all can look them up. The Front Porch Distillery, 19 Oaks. Y'all can look them up. You can Google the distillery. You can look it up. You can see if they can deliver. But y'all aren't going to be able to find this whiskey. This is a very obscure, off the beaten path type of whiskey. It's really delicious. It's yummy. And, if you're doing whiskey reviews, you don't want to do whiskey reviews of the stuff that nobody can get their hands on. So I get it. It's, it's just Buffalo Trace doesn't excite me. Jack Daniels doesn't excite me. It's all right. It's just not great. Have I ever had a 78? I don't think I've ever had a 78, no. Nick Nepper's in the house. Cheers, Nick. Cheech and Chong was on the record. But yeah, that's if I had any criticism of Whiskey Tube, that would be it. It's just that the national brands don't excite me as much as the local brands. I like finding hidden jewels and unique stuff, and that's one of the biggest complaints I have about the local whiskey forums, the Houston Whiskey Club, the Houston Bourbon Hounds, the San Antonio Whiskey Club. It's not the San Antonio Whiskey Club. It's the Kentucky Whiskey Club in San Antonio. They're always out looking for Weller or Buffalo Trace or Eagle Rare or any of the specially marketed fancy Kentucky factory bourbons. And it's just, I mean, they're good, but they're not. There's so many really good whiskeys that you can get your hands on that aren't factory whiskeys that but the challenge is the balance is it's got to be something that's not so obscure that not so obscure that everybody's heard of, but versus the national factory brands. It's and I kind of look at it like Jack Daniels doesn't need my help advertising for Jack Daniels. Jack Daniels has a multi-$100 million marketing budget. They can advertise for themselves. Front Porch, these guys, they don't have a $100 million marketing budget. They have maybe maybe several $1,000 marketing budget that they can use. Um, Buffalo Trace doesn't need YouTube's help advertising for Buffalo Trace. Penelope doesn't need YouTube's help advertising for Penelope. But the flip side of that, again, if it's so obscure that nobody's heard of it, nobody gets their hands on it, then why fucking do it? There's that balancing act, and I get why they do what they do. I don't have any uh, I don't have any problem with it. It's just it doesn't excite me. It doesn't really interest me. But doing stuff like comparing whiskeys from different states, doing stuff like showcasing whiskeys from different regions, that stuff's really kind of cool. And Dustin, to his credit, uh, when I was looking at his channel and he was showing off some different scotches, and like the first video that I saw on his channel that popped up on my page was a scotch, a 25-year-old scotch. From a couple years ago, a video from a couple years ago. I'm like, this is a really cool, this is a really cool video. I'm down. I want to hear more. Tell me more. But one of the things that I saw recently on Bad Axe's channel, he was showcasing a couple of whiskeys, doing a head-to-head whiskeys from I can't remember what they were, but they were two brands I hadn't heard of before. And I was looking at it going, this is neat. And I watched the video, and it was a thoughtful like rundown of the two different whiskeys and how they tasted differently. And he didn't like one of them, he liked the others, which is another thing that you don't see a whole lot on whiskey tubes because they always like the whiskeys. Yeah, they can't always all taste good. They some of them taste not good. It's just a function of the industry. Some people don't like my whiskeys, and I'm fine with that. You don't have to. You're not required to. It's not a price of entry. Um, that's why we do cocktails, to cover up the flavor for people who don't like it. But it's just kind of a refreshing, different, and to his credit, again, Dustin did the same thing. I saw a couple of videos where he was like, yeah, this isn't really good for my palate, but it's good. I can see the merits of it, but it's not for my palate. So that's kind of the parts of Whiskey Tube that I really like, the ones that do really thoughtful stuff. And sometimes they don't like it, sometimes they do like it, but they do different stuff, and it's not just the factory stuff. And that's kind of what, if I see a brand that I've never heard of, I'm definitely watching that video. Absolutely, positively, definitely watching the video. If it's a brand I've never heard of. If it's a brand I have heard of, I might watch it. I might not. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, so there you go. So there you go. Looky there. I'm done. I'm done bragging on complimenting Bad Axe, and there he is. He's in chat. Cheers, Bad Axe. Welcome to the show, and thank you for dropping in on my show as well. I appreciate it, man. And for what it's worth, I think I picked up 3 subscribers after your show, or during your show. I picked up 3 subscribers. Oh damn, we're up to 780 now. Where are we at now? 780, 781? Nope, 780. So that's cool. We picked up a few subscribers after I popped into your show, and I really do enjoy your show, and I would like to pop into more of them, more of your lives, and I don't mind bragging on Destin as well. I like some of his I like some of his content too. A lot of the content that I watch on YouTube, to be completely honest, is Fortnite videos. I watch Fortnite videos. I watch restoration videos. A lot of DIY woodworking. A lot of restoration, DIY woodworking, and right now I have an entire playlist of how to frame a metal stud room. Because my next project is going to be metal stud rooms. So there you go. That's the stuff that I watch mostly on YouTube. Fortnite, woodworking, DIY, off-grid survival shelters. I like those videos. I really like those. I don't know why I like those videos, but I really love the van conversions. I love watching the van conversion videos. And then um, right now, I have, like I said, I have a playlist of how to frame a room with metal studs because that's the next project in the distillery. And I have a whole playlist of distillery projects like the ring toss, the ring on a string game, the ring and hook, how to build a bar, how to build a table, how to build, I have all kinds of distillery build out plans in a playlist as well. So there you go. Oops, we just jumped forward in time. Just scroll back to where the okay. So for what it's worth, everybody in chat, go subscribe up there to Dustin and Bad Axe Bourbon's channels. They're both great channels. Both great channels. Fun watches, good videos, good enjoyable, thoughtful conversation around whiskeys and whiskey tube stuff. So there you go. I'm gonna quit bragging on them because I don't want to embarrass them too much. Do some math work. Should have been a firefighter, 60 pounds. 1990s, I was trying to learn English and focused on my American citizenship. I had no time for garbage, just like I don't now as an American. Well, good job studying. And I guess a little bit late, but welcome to the party. If I had hair, I'd pull it out, trying to show the impact of currency changes on my company's cash and debt. Oh, Christ almighty. Just reading that makes my brain hurt, Dustin. Jesus. If you had a credit card for Amazon to send you what you bought. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I'm out. Voting needs more than a 30-second registration. Well, I mean, that's pretty much how long it takes to register anyway. It's just registering ahead of time versus registering day of. And to be, you can still register day of. You just can't vote in the same election that you're registering in the day of. You get a provisional ballot and all kinds of other stuff, and it's a big mess. I would like Whiskey Wars live. I've seen Whiskey Wars live stream. I've been to Whiskey Wars live stream. I may have even been on Whiskey Wars live stream at one point. Our schedules don't sync up. There's a lot of shows that I like 21090 on Tuesday nights. They run their show about the same time we have dinner here, so our schedules don't sync up. Bimbo Barbarella does her show on Friday nights or Saturday nights, and our schedules just don't sync up. There's a lot of live shows that I would like to see and watch and participate in, but our schedules just don't sync up. Whiskey Crusaders. Whiskey Crusaders, that's another one that I've seen. And I think I've participated in one of their lives, but I can't remember. I've bounced around. I've seen some folks. I just there's a lot of them, and the criticism I make is generalized and not necessarily specific to any channel. There's a lot of really good ones. There's a lot of really good guys out there that do really good reviews. But also there's a lot of them that do the panel. They throw up the panels, and it's kind of chaos, and I don't do well with chaos. So yeah, and that's true. That's also true. They don't make money. They do it for fun, and that's also really cool. That's one of the reasons why it's a really cool ecosystem, is because they're just whiskey enthusiasts that just do it for fun and do it for the love of the spirit of the genre. They do it because they enjoy doing it, and that's really cool. And I enjoy I enjoy the joy that they put into it and get out of it as well. It's really cool. It's just not necessarily, um, I mean, there's people that like rollerblading too, and I'm just not into that. A lot of the whiskey tube channels popped up. I think Bad Axe was talking about this on his channel a little bit. A lot of them popped up around 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and that's kind of when I started doing a lot on my channel too. Uh, because we were stuck inside and we couldn't do anything else, and we had nowhere else to go uh, to promote our brand. So we started doing more promotional stuff through YouTube. But what I didn't do a lot of, and still don't do much of, is the forum panel shows. I don't do those. They're chaotic and they're hard to manage and they're hard to control, and uh, a whole lot of things can go wrong on the panel shows, and I don't do those. But I'll participate in them. I'll come on the shows and I'll participate and I'll pop in. I'll say hi. I'll talk. I'll answer questions. But then I gotta go. I can't. I don't often have a lot of time to spend more than 30 minutes to an hour on a show, uh, except for Wednesday nights and Thursday nights where I can go, as long as I can go. But anyway, but the fact that they just do it for fun, and they do it because they're enthusiastic about the brands, and but there's also like that balance. They're enthusiastic about the brands, but the brands that they're enthusiastic about are the brands that like everybody's enthusiastic about, and that's I I don't. It sounds dickish. It's like, I only like indie bands that only play small venues. I don't like bands that play in stadiums. It's not like that. I mean, I don't mind. I like national brands too. They're good. They just don't excite me as much. I mean, I'll go watch, you know, Guns N' Roses and Metallica in a dual concert at a double headliner concert at the Astrodome. That's fucking amazing. It's a great show. It's huge. It's awesome. Um, and oftentimes it's a better show, better presentation, better atmosphere than some shitty little garage band playing a small club around the corner that nobody's ever heard of. But the flip side is, I mean, finding the diamonds in the rough are really fun to find. There's a lot of independent whiskey makers that make shitty whiskey. But there's a lot of independent ones that are really good that you've just never heard of and you've never found them. I found a really good one. It's a blend. It's half Kentucky, half Texas. It's a blend. It's not. I mean, they're not making their own juice, all of their own juice. They're making some of their own juice, but it's a good whiskey. It's delightful. It's quite pleasant. Um. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, I respect the hell out of what they're doing. Well, don't get me wrong. I absolutely respect the hell out of what they're doing. They're doing a great job. They're doing a fantastic job. It's just not. Um, yeah, and 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 maybe I'm a little bit jaded because I'm here in Houston, and Texas is a huge market, and everybody wants to sell their whiskey in Texas. Because there's 35 million people here in Texas, and Houston's the fourth largest city in the country, and everybody wants to sell their whiskey in the city of Houston, and we have access to whiskeys that are just like all over the place, and people are like, oh, I found Weller, and I'm like, Weller's like right down the street. Everybody has Weller. What the fuck are you talking about? That might not be as popular or as abundant and easily to get their hands on in places like St. Louis or Kansas City or Jefferson or Little Rock or Albuquerque or places like that. That's fair. I get that too. I mean, I'm not making a judgment call. I'm not judging people. It's just, um, it's just the way things work. The way the world is, and I appreciate what they do. I truly do appreciate what they do, and I like to find out more information. Um, the balance for me, though, is if they're just another channel doing Buffalo Trace, then what more information am I getting? Or am I going to find out that it's smoky and grassy and you have vanilla notes and or smoky and vanilla notes and char. You can really taste the char from the barrel, and it's got a really warm start but a really smooth finish. And this is really good, and you can really smell it. And this is great. There, I just did a whiskey review for 95% of the whiskeys. For 95% of the national brands for whiskey. There you go. Has a good nose. It's good and clingy on the glass. You can really see how it clings on the glass. Has a good nose. Vanilla, tanniny, lots of tannins, good vanilla, caramel. What am I tasting on that? Is that sweet? Is that a good finish? That's a nice clean. Oh, it's a little bit of heat starting. You really feel it at the end. Yeah. The extra time in the barrel actually did this really good. That's a good one. There. I did 90 to 95% of the national brand tastings and reviews. Just right there. But seriously, it's not all like that. I'm being facetious. Anyway, 70s out to whiskey people, and I get crap for giving 70s out to whiskeys people like and and New Mexico whiskey and some of that Texas whiskey. Oh, one of my favorites of all time. Where's my bottle at? Was this one right here? Nope, not that one. That's Redemption. This one right here. We got this one when we were traveling right before the pandemic starts. The Old Santa Fe Trail. Old Santa Fe Trail straight bourbon whiskey out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico, Left Turn Distilling Company. This was the Santa Fe Trail. Where is it? Santa Fe. Old Santa Fe Trail straight bourbon whiskey. You see, empty bottle, which means it's a good one. But we picked this up in March of 2020, right before all hell broke. I guess it was March 2020, right before all hell broke loose. Had that guy on my show. He zoomed in. It was a great whiskey. Great whiskey, great story for the whiskey. Highly recommended if you're out there in your neighborhood. Get a bottle if you can come across it. But yeah, Jack, go to my about page, shoot me an email. We'll talk about doing a trade. I'm happy to do that. There is okay, let me tell you about the German restaurant in El Paso. German restaurant, El Paso. It's a German bar. The German pub on, is this the right place? The German pub in El Paso on Viscount Boulevard. 9530 Viscount Boulevard. Is that clear? 9530 Viscount Boulevard. It is a German pub, 9530 Viscount Boulevard. That is Unit 2K in El Paso, Texas. Okay? Write that down, Jack. Give you a chance. I'll give you a second. 9530 Viscount Boulevard. That is blurry. 9530 Viscount Boulevard, El Paso, Texas. 79925. It is around the corner from a La Quinta Inn. In between the La Quinta Inn and the German pub used to be a strip club that was shut down in 2021. I don't know if it's reopened up or not. That bar has our special reserve, or had at one point our special reserve whiskey. I don't know if it still does, but he picked up a couple of bottles in Austin. When I was there doing my tasting in El Paso, I shared my whiskey with them in their bar. He said he was going to buy some when he got the chance. He tried to buy it at the Specs in El Paso. They didn't have it. He gave me a call when he was in Austin. He wanted to know where in Austin we had the whiskey, and I told him where he had it. He was supposed to pick up a bottle and take it back to El Paso. There should be some of that whiskey in El Paso at that bar. 9530 Viscount Boulevard. 9530 Viscount Boulevard. Can you see that? Is that good? Is that clear? 9530 Viscount Boulevard. There you go. Seek it out. Find it. Talk to... I don't remember his name. I think it was George. But that's where you find it. If it's not at the Specs, ask for it by name. Say, hey, when are you going to get the Old Humble stuff back in? I'm looking for it. And if they don't have it there, then go to the German pub. They have a great damn burger. Their Royal Burger, the one with the egg on it, it's fucking delicious. Absolutely fucking delicious. I watch shoe repair videos. Ooh, watch repair. Those watch repair videos are dope as hell. There's that dude who does the watch recoveries, and he like disassembles all the pieces, and he has them all out on the cloth, and he cleans them off, alcohol, scrubs them down, replaces the parts that need to be replaced. Those are great videos. Oh my God, gives me just a... Yeah, they're great videos. Absolutely great videos. Underground tunnel how-to videos are awesome. Oh yeah, those videos where they like dig the primitive living, where they like dig down and they like make the rooms completely fake but really cool to watch. Those are fun. Off the grid. Vanessa Kitty's in the house. Cheers, Vanessa Kitty. Oh, speaking of Vanessa Kitty, the other videos that I like to watch are the Presh Telwalker. Mind your math. Mind your problems. The math problem videos of how to solve these complicated geometry problems, and they have two circles and find the area of the shaded area of space inside these two circles. Oh, I love those videos. I will sit there and watch them all goddamn day long. During the lock-in for the pandemic, I'd watch these videos, work out the problems, do the problems myself, and then go take the problems to my kids and show them how to do the problems. My kids got really tired of me walking into the kitchen with a whiteboard. That whiteboard, well, you can't see it, but that whiteboard right there, I'd walk into the kitchen with that whiteboard and say, let me show you. There's these 3 triangles. And they're like, God, Dad. So much fun. Thank you, Dustin, for posting that. Thank you. Bad Axe. There you go. There's Bad Axe. Thank you. Kunin, 1911 is your... What? Oh. Get Discord. I have Discord. Join the Whiskey Dictionary. I've been thinking about creating a Discord channel of my own, but I have not done that. As evidenced by the fact that I do not have a Discord channel of my own. What is it? Whiskey Dictionaries Group. Whiskey Dictionary. On Discord. Gotcha. I can help you if you have questions. I can help you get in touch with some really good channels that make it easy for you. Oh, cool. Okay. Good. Well, when we come springtime, when our Boomtown Bourbon gets re-released into the wild, we will. Yeah, we're gonna be doing some samples. It'll be part of the launch. We did a little bit of that with the rye, where I sent some samples out to get some reviews on the YouTubes. But I only sent out like 2 or 3 bottles. With the bourbon, I'll probably send out I may send out like 50 samples of the Boomtown. Little sample bottles like this. I may send out a shit ton of those to a bunch of channels and a bunch of people, and get a lot of run. Try to get a lot of run with that, because it's the challenge. So here's the challenge. The challenge is, you send it to a YouTube channel. You send it to anyone, any influencer, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or whatever. Do they have Twitter influencers? Is that such a thing? Anyway, it's hard, when you sell in a local market and you send it to a regional influencer, it's hard to gauge the return in your home market when you're sending it to people in, like, New York and Wisconsin and Kentucky and Florida and Colorado and California and various places in Texas. That's a real challenge. It's a legit challenge, but more talk is better than no talk. So we'll be sending out a whole shit ton of samples of bourbon when it comes time to send that stuff out. You can count on it, but it's still a few months away. I got several projects in between now and then, but that will be part of it. And there was a period where I did a Instagram influencer opportunity where I posted up a post that said, "Put my junk in your mouth, opportunity for whiskey." And I said, any Instagram whiskey gram folks who want a sample of my delicious whiskey, send me a message and I will send my whiskey to you, and you can put my junk in your mouth and tell me what you think about it. But only honest reviews need apply. You don't have to like it. You just need to put my junk in your mouth. And I got like 8 people that responded to that. And I sent out a bunch of samples to people. And it was fun. It was a fun little, they put up a review. Yeah, I put his junk in my mouth and it was great. Or there was a couple of folks who said it was great, but you could tell they didn't really like it. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. I have absolutely no problem with doing that again. Doing another "Put My Junk in Your Mouth" campaign on the YouTubes. So yeah, there you go. Nothing works for me to stop the insomnia. Drunk but still stuck awoke. I can't tell you what really helps. Man, insomnia sucks. I've gone 19 days without more than 3 hours sleep. And it sucked. I was going out of my fucking mind. I finally ended up falling asleep just out of pure exhaustion. And that's what ended up happening. It was a little more than 2 full weeks, and I was just like so exhausted, and I finally fell asleep. Literally sitting up in a chair, I just like fell asleep like that. Anyway, insomnia sucks. Best of luck to figure that one out. Maybe point recently, people complained that Spotify didn't bring more attention to small bands like people hoped, and people seemed upset. Turns out it's still, oh yeah, being good, absolutely, 100%. That is some of the best publicity you can get, is just to be good. There's a lot of small bands that just suck. There's a lot of small distilleries that they're not good. They're not interesting. They're not exciting. And I've come across several small distilleries that just weren't good. Several small brands and several small distilleries that just weren't good. But you haven't heard about them because I don't talk about them. You haven't heard about them from me. You may have heard about them from others, but you haven't heard about them from me. If they're not good, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just not going to talk about them. But if they are good, I'm going to talk about them, without question. Pretend I went to sleep. That's the best I can describe. Weller is way harder. I bet it is, and that's what, like I was saying. I'm probably jaded because I'm in the Houston market and I have access to. I have a lot of access to a lot of stuff because we're Houston. So yeah, I get that. I do. But still, it doesn't excite me. I've had Weller. I've had their. It's good. It's fine. It's good. It's a good whiskey. It's a good bourbon. I like it. It's not. I mean, it's. I've had some good ones. They're good. They're sought after. They're exciting. People get really excited over having it, and yeah, it's good. There you go. All the 24-hour places no longer exist. The places to wander. I don't know how many. Yeah. Vanessa, I think you're over in the Northeast, the Baltimore area, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right about that? Yeah, the 24-hour the 24-hour Walmart near me isn't 24-hour anymore. They shut it. They closed down at midnight for like 6 hours. Uh, hmm. Yeah, a lot of places stopped being 24 hours at COVID. They just didn't. They just stopped, and yeah, sucks. The summer of love taught us not to go out. Fishing I can carry, but fishing I can carry longer. Blades is most places I go fishing I can. Oh, I gotcha. Huh. Fishing the weekend. I hate fishing. I absolutely hate fishing. Myself. You'll check it. Oh, the Santa Fe Trail. Yeah, I highly recommended. It's a cool little place too. They had a little tasting room, a little bar space. You can see their stills and stuff in the back room. Cool little place. Not quite off the beaten path, but not quite in the middle of the road either. Very cool little place. And shortly after we visited them, we drove past the Breaking Bad house because we were tourists. Um, I get to Texas, I'll reserve space in truck to fill up with your liquor. You do that, Vanessa. I will absolutely take care of you. Um, you can find pecan wood. A trip to Brothers would replenish your pecan stash. Oh, cool. I feel a yawn coming on. There. All right, what time is it? Is it after midnight? It is after midnight. It is 12. Oh, I'm only about 5 minutes behind in chat. Well, we'll catch up chat, and then we'll figure out how much longer we're going to go. I think I did a math. I did a couple of math episodes. We talked about Pythagoras, I think. Didn't I talk about the Pythagorean theorem? I talked about pi. Um, I've done a few math episodes. I'm a mathophile. Absolutely. Computophile? I'm sure there's a word for mathophile. Arithmophile? Arithmophile. That's it. That's the word. You love art and engineering yeah, gotcha. Well, cheers, Jack. It was great to have you around. Glad to see you tonight. And again, before you go, reminder: if you comment on Friday's show before the show starts, you get your name on the Wheel of Doom and Glory. We spin the Wheel of Doom and Glory. One of those names will walk home with a sample of our 4 whiskeys and a cigar from a national tobacconist. You must be present to win. So if we spin the wheel and you're not there, you don't comment that you accept your winnings, we will remove you from the wheel and spin it again. So Friday, comment on the Friday show, add your name to the list. We will spin the wheel and do it again, all on Friday night. BS degree days, I was summer class of Calc 3 with mostly all engineers, collecting walnuts from a neighbor's lawn in about 2 months. Oh, sounds good. 100, 200 milliliters with your mini label, and it helps big time with the video. I bet. 100, 200 milliliter with your mini label on it. I think I can almost certainly pull that off because I've got these small bottles, and I have the bottles that are slightly larger than that too, to be able to send to send out to folks. The giveaway is Friday night, Jen. Welcome to the party, Jen. Glad you joined us. The giveaway is Friday night. Friday night. Tomorrow night's trivia. And by tomorrow night, I mean Thursday night, which is technically tonight because it's after midnight. Engineer wannabes to choose a calculator. If so, family dishonor. Are we there? Have we caught up? Oh, not quite. We're very close to caught up. It's 12:15 in chat. Oh shit, I'm 7 minutes behind in chat still. HP 41C. Oh, I had a Casio. A Casio calculator was my go-to. Do I still have my calculator? I think, yeah, I do. This is my financial calculator that I got during my MBA days. The Texas Instruments financial calculator, BA2 Plus from Texas Instruments. Yeah, and my son has the TI-81, which is what is recommended in high school here in Texas. I got the Casio because I was stubborn. 24 record is now in 6 days. Beyond 4 is yeah, and I'm probably exaggerating. It's probably more than 19 days and 3 hours. It was probably no more than 3 hours in any given stretch of 2 or 3 days, because you can't go 19 days in 3 hours. I'm thinking of that through, and that's ridiculous. I think I probably didn't sleep more than 30 minutes any given day. You know, you just kind of stop and you kind of doze off, and then you wake back up and you can't go back to sleep. It was probably no more than 30 minutes to an hour on any given day during that stretch. And I was miserable. I was going absolute. I was disheveled and just like I looked like crap. Oh, it was dreadful. I feel for you, Nessa. Get your do what you need to do. Take care of yourself. Go run, work out, work that energy out. Exhaust yourself. That's the best advice I can give when it comes to insomnia. Just exhaust yourself until your body just can't, and then just sit still for a few minutes and let it go. But I mean, you're dealing with it. You know what you need to do. You get well or not just because you're in Houston, but because you're in Texas. Ah, I see. So you can't get it in Chicago. It's Ohio and Texas. Really? They focus on Ohio and Texas. That's interesting. That is interesting. Interesting that they choose those two markets and not like New York, California, Florida. It's just Texas and Ohio. Interesting. Maybe it's a distribution thing. I don't know. That's curious. Um, Bubbly Vouvray? What? Um, I covered Euclid. That's what it was. It was Euclid, not Pythagoras. Pythagoras was one I was planning on doing, but I didn't get to Pythagoras because he was a badass son of a bitch too. Euclid was the guy that I talked about because he was like literally the basis of geometry that we know of today. That's what Excel is. HP Hewlett Packard. Yeah, good days. Good old fashioned HP days. And Texas Instrument. Texas Instrument, as you might be able to guess, is from Texas. BA2 Plus, God, I hate that. Yeah, the BA2 Plus. It is I mean, it's a financial calculator. It's what I used getting my MBA. It's what I used it was my go-to for the whole time that I was a trust officer and calculating returns and dividends and all that crap. It's a hell of a calculator. Hell of a calculator. Corey Slater's in the house. What is up, Corey Slater? Cheers and salutations. TI Inspire CSCX calculator for schools. I think we have a TICS. Chalk and Talks, my favorite teaching time. Oh, cool. North End Convention for MAA. I would do presentations on as Chalk Talk. Well, cool. We're officially caught up with chat. In fact, I'm going to switch from top chat to live chat since we're officially caught up. Did that fix it? There we go. And you get the little welcome to live chat. So yeah, there you go. I'm going to start the process of wrapping up the show. It is 12:30. So we'll do the housekeeping. No top chat. You want me to switch back to top chat? I don't know the difference. I've never noticed the difference between the two, to be quite honest. But yeah, at work I would Excel was much more accessible at work because I had the computer and it was a big screen. I could just bang it out. But I wasn't always at my desk doing desktop work with my computer. Sometimes I just had ideas that I wanted to run through and play with it in my head. And that's what I would pop out that particular computer. I always had in my briefcase. Good times, good times. And speaking of good times, look over here at a CD that I have on my desk. My son found this CD in my car, and that's what prompted the. He saw the CD and CD player, and he prompted the CD questions. This is a CD from Folk Family Revival. It was their first LP, Electric Darling. It is a great CD. Go look them up on Google. Google Folk Family Revival. Order their CD. They will mail it to you, or you can download it as a electronic file. Excel, you can do more than. Oh yeah, I've built entire model businesses using inputs and constraints and restrictions, and if I want to increase my productivity to this number, what do I need to do up here, and the backwards computations and the forward computations. Excel is insane. I love Excel. I'm teaching you to do lives. You don't know the difference. Don't know the difference between I don't. I'm glad, Ting Ting. I'm glad to help you. Uh, I'm absolutely glad to help. Uh, uh, I'm flattered. Thank you. I don't even know what to say to that. I appreciate that. But housekeeping to close out the show. We will we'll finish up. So tomorrow night we have trivia starting at 9 p.m. Lisa will be joining me. We will be doing trivia. I've done some adjustments to the settings on the OBS, which hopefully will help resolve some of the issues that we've had with the broadcast in the last few weeks. I still don't know if it's a hardware or software issue, but I've adjusted the settings, so hopefully it'll be mostly resolved, unless it's a hardware issue, in which case I need to upgrade my hardware. Tomorrow night's trivia. Friday night, we're doing the Wheel of Doom and Glory and giving away our samples of whiskey. If you have not already gotten on the wheel, you're not on the wheel. But you have a chance to get on the wheel one more time. The live show is posted up on our channel, pending for Friday night. All you have to do is open up the whiskey giveaway and 700 and I think it's 750 subscriber special, and then comment. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm here for the giveaway. I'm ready for the giveaway. I've hit the notification bell. I'm ready. Whatever you want to post. Let me whiskey giveaway and subscriber special presented by the Old Humble Distilling Company. There it is. It's right underneath trivia. I open that up. We have Bimbo Barbarella has already commented first. There she is. Bimbo Barbarella has already commented first, so she will get her name added to the wheel. She says she doesn't see her name on the wheel, and that's because I don't have that wheel in the picture. That's just a generic wheel. Chill out. But yeah, go turn on the notification. Be notified when it starts. I think it starts at 6 p.m. I don't remember what time I said it started. 6:30 p.m. Friday is when the show is. So you must be present to win. We will likely spin the wheel about 7 o'clock. So get on in. And the next week, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, live music with Same Old Circles. We start our live music Friday nights again, starting Friday night next week. What's next? We will be doing more lives from the distillery. So those will pop up usually about 30 minutes usually about 30 minutes before the show starts. So if you don't have your notification bell clicked, you may not be notified that the show starts, but you get in late, it's fine. You'll be able to see the behind the scenes stuff that's going on in the distilleries. I bottle my whiskey and build out the tasting room and grow the business that we're trying to trying to grow and grow our community that we're trying to grow. And hopefully, when we have our big whiskey fest, all y'all fine folks will be able to come and join us and have a drink with me. I would look forward to it and thoroughly enjoy that opportunity. And that's it. That's it. That's the updates that we have between now and next week. So I'm going to we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to call it a night. I'm going to take my final shot for the night of 19 Oaks whiskey from the Front Porch Distilling Company out in Lufkin, Texas. So this is our parting shot. We had our opening shot. Now we're having our parting shot. And go check out the other channels that you've seen: Bad Axe Bourbon, Top Shelf Dustin, Easy Street with Jen, Corey Slater, Bimbo Barbarella. Check out all these people. Google them. Check them out. They're good folks. They do good work. Do good channels. Do all the stuff. Go check them out. Be good neighbors on the YouTube world. Are we done? I think we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, children of all ages, thank you once again for joining me on a Wednesday night. We are at 780 subscribers as we march on to 1,000 subscribers. We're at 1,000 subscribers. I will fight a kangaroo. We're celebrating our 750 subscribers Friday with the whiskey giveaway. That's it. That's all I got to say. It's been a hell of a show. You guys make the show fun. I'm not going to lie. The chat keeps the show going. The chat keeps the show exciting. The chat keeps the show fun. If it weren't for you guys, I would simply be talking to myself, and that's no fun. I like having you guys here. Thank you so much for making this a fun show, an engaging show, and making this community a fun and engaging community, and helping this channel to grow. I appreciate it. And I hope that the small amount of entertainment that I bring into your life is worth your time and energy and effort. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. And I look forward to I really do look forward to seeing y'all again tomorrow night. And I look forward to these shows on Wednesday nights. There are some nights that I'm truly burnt out and I don't want to do it. And I tell my wife, I'm not going to do the show. I'm going to cancel the show. And then we start getting closer to the show and I start getting like itchy. She's like, you going to do the show? I'm like, I'm going to do the show. And I come in here and I do the show. It's fun. It's fun. It's a cool community. I enjoy having you guys for a couple hours, a few hours on Wednesday night. I really, truly, truly do appreciate the fact that with all the choices of how you can spend your time on a Wednesday night, you choose to spend your time here listening to a doughy old man talk about cocktails and voting and whiskey and all the other shit that we kind of wander into as the night progresses, fishing and math and whatever other crap that we jabber about and talk about. And I value your opinion. I hope you value mine. And in the long winding trail of future experiences, I really do hope our paths cross in real life. In the meantime, think with your whole brain, love with your whole heart, and be awesome to each other. And drink good whiskey, because life is too short for bad whiskey and too long to do nothing about it. Cheers, and good night.